welcome to my kitchen. Please like, share, and subscribe. Well, this morning we are at 830 subscribers, which means we're getting really close to being able to do our giveaway in a live video. And let's go ahead and get started with our project today. We are going to ferment some garlic, and I really like the health benefits of garlic, and since I'm not a doctor or nutritionist, I recommend that you research it yourself, but I will include some links in the description of the video regarding the benefits. And I've watched some different videos on the best way to get the skins off of the garlic, and one of the easiest ways I've found is to just take your garlic and put it in a container, and then you can shake it. So we're just going to break these cloves off like this. And look at that, comes out just like that. So much easier. When I first started doing this, it took me forever because it was so tedious peeling all of the skin off the garlic. And you still do a little peeling, but definitely goes a long ways towards getting that skin off. All right, just shake it a little bit more here. Looks like this one actually wants to grow. Garlic and onions actually grow over winter in our climate. So any of the garlic cloves I find that have a little volunteer sticking out, I'm actually going to go put those out in the garden later. And a cool thing I discovered last year about garlic and onions growing in the garden, I actually had no squash bugs. It repelled the squash bugs until the point in which I picked the onions or the garlic. So these are a great thing to have going in your garden. So all you need for this project is some filtered water, some sea salt, some natural sea salt, some peppercorns, and garlic, a mason jar, and I like to use the Mason Tops fermenting pickle puck and vented lid. I would recommend, if you want to get into fermenting, that you invest in your supplies, just because it makes it so much easier. And it's not that it's that expensive, it's just a small expenditure. And I'll link to a couple of fermenting kits. All right, let's go ahead and start putting some of these in our jar. Now this jar has been washed, and you don't have to sterilize the jars, but I actually find that putting just a little bit of water in it and microwaving it for a couple of minutes just helps to make extra sure there's no bacteria or anything hanging out on the glass. I've only had 2 batches of my fermented jars go bad in the 2 years that I've been doing this. So it doesn't happen very often, but it can happen. And what you need to know is it should always smell good. It should have a pleasant smell. And I don't think you don't really have to cut these up. I have like sliced them fine. I think this time I'm just going to cut them in half. Take off the little edge. So we've got our jar about 3/4 full of the cloves. And now we're going to add 1.5 tablespoons of this ancient sea salt. It has no iodine in it. So when you're doing fermenting, just don't use iodized salt. And this brand is from Redmond. I've also used Himalayan sea salt before. I like both of them a lot. And the sea salt is mandatory. That was 1.5 tablespoons of salt. The peppercorns are optional. I'm just going to put 4 or 5 in there, maybe a little bit more. The next step is we're going to add some filtered water. This water has no chlorine in it. That's very important. And let's go ahead and give that a little bit of a stir here with this wooden stick. Look at how pretty that is. Now this is called a puck, a pickle puck from Mason Tops. This is a vented silicone lid. Now we're just going to go ahead and put a band on there to keep this on. And the purpose of the lid is to keep bugs out of it. And it also minimizes the amount of oxygen going in. And this little hole in the lid, you can see this little hole, that actually lets gas escape in the process. And what I like to do is put it in a little dish like this, because a lot of times when you're fermenting, the water content will rise. And that's basically it. We're just going to leave this out on our countertop for about 5 days. Our house is 70 degrees. And after that, it'll be ready to go in the refrigerator. And just remember, fermented food should always smell good. So just give a little smell. If you ever ferment food and it smells nasty, that means that it's spoiled and throw it out. But I've only had that happen twice. It's pretty foolproof. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed fermenting garlic with me today. Thanks for watching.